Hello, hello, welcome. Just getting a good stretch in here. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Valgan. I do udon creation stuff for VR chat and other Unity development things on my own time. And today we are going to be continuing work on our VRC armory system that I've been building out, the custom game mode builder for VR chat. And for the most part, we're getting near the release of the first proper version of it, which means that there's actually quite a lot that I can just kind of go ahead and work on here. Because it's a lot of kind of cleanup. I've actually done a lot kind of like over today and the past couple days, just kind of cleaning this up and working on it. And you'll see there's a few little things that are just going to improve workflow and stuff tremendously. So I've added in some melee weapons here, or just some quick models of a knife and a sword, which is totally not just a scaled knife. But you'll notice that if we... Hey, welcome, Lumi. You've noticed we go down here, there's a interactable during states. This is a drop down for selecting what game states you want this to be grabbable during. So like say, do we want to force you to drop it when the game is over? That kind of stuff. Then you can leave it unchecked for post-round and leave it only enabled for pre-round and mid-round. Selection here for limit to rolls, and this will limit you to the... Okay, I can't quite move my head out of the way. Alright, let me dock some stuff around here. It's over here. There we go. So yeah, this will allow you to limit this object to being only picked up by someone who has this role. So right now it's selected on murderer's murderer, but it could be on innocence and detective or innocent. And if you put nothing here, then anyone can pick it up. For example, the detective will be spawning over here, right next to this revolver question mark. That will be exclusive for the detective. With that, let's look at my notes for today. So we got a bunch of the exciting things, such as going through commenting on my code, project organization, custom inspector header. There we go. That's something I can kind of pop into right away. So all of the behaviors that I use for this project inherit from a class called hold on. Base armory behavior. This is one class that pretty much everything in my project uses, so that you can get like calls on when like the game state has changed or different stuff like that. And because of that, since everything is using this, let's see where. There we go. I can have a custom editor that works for it. So this custom editor basically does the drawing that it does by default, except using UI elements. That means that the UI is a lot more expandable, a lot more toolable. Unfortunately, Unity 2022, it makes that a little bit difficult. There's a few things that just don't quite work. Let's see, this isn't needed. There we go. But there's a few things in here that are kind of a little bit on the odd side. Like, if you want the default drop downs at the top for the Udon Sharp behavior things, you have to add in an IAM-GUI container, so you're not getting the performance benefit of doing like UI elements because you have a full IAM-GUI thing. So there's some customization that I wanna kind of get in for that. And from there on, yeah, let's go ahead and start working on that. I want to get a kind of logo icon done for VRC Armory. I'm not entirely sure what it is that I'm going to do for it, but I have some ideas. For now, I just have this hexagon. It's very much just a filler icon. It's excuse me. Yeah, it's nothing special yet. However, the idea here is that we have our header area. We have the icon here. We have the label that takes in the name of whatever the script is. Then we have the visual element down here. That's just the generic container for what the actual script is. So there's a few things. Let's go over here. There's a few things that every script needs, and that's a reference to the script itself visually up here. Though I guess we don't actually need it due to the way that we're populating the thing. It'll just be pumped in here. There's this utilities drop down for like compile all Udon Sharp programs and stuff like that. But I don't think we need that here. I think it would be better for this project to add it into the VRC SDK Udon Sharp drop down up here. You don't see that. There we go. VRC SDK Udon Sharp. I want to put in a compile all Udon Sharp programs button there. It's not a very commonly used thing, which is why I'm feeling happy to stick it there instead of on each of these scripts. And I think with that, well, let's go ahead and just start naming the stuff. So this will be root, header. Wait, no. Actually, no, that's not even going to be root. This is header. Then we have icon and title label. Inspector container. All right, inspector container is going to take some custom field properties, or class attributes, technically. So if we look here, we want to be using these three, and that's what makes it look like a good normal inspector for Unity. It's the class Unity Inspector Element, Unity Inspector Element UIE Default, and Unity Inspector Element UIE. Those all sound incredibly like they're the same thing, but you need all three of these to make it look like the inspector does, with all the correct formatting. And that is pretty much just a you gotta find that out on your own kind of thing. In Unity 6, a lot of the styling matches by default, so you don't need to have all these kind of things. But since we're in Unity 2022, which is a few years old now, yeah, clearly named by a program. Well, yeah, they're all named basically the same thing. Like, it's Unity Inspector Element, followed by UIE, the abbreviation of Unity Inspector Element, and default, and then just Unity Inspector Element UIE. Like, I am more bothered by it than I should be. Alright, so if we save this, we're saving that into our VRC Armory editor resources folder as Armory behavior. So let's go into our base Armory behavior editor. And I think actually we're going to rename this to base Armory behavior, because what I like doing for this is using name of to match the resources file. So we're going to do visual tree asset UXML equals resources. Whoops, not FX resources. Resources dot load visual tree asset name of base Armory behavior. Then we will clone that into our root. xml.clone tree into root. We don't need my static thing here anymore. Actually, the only time this is called, but I'll keep it around in case I need it. Hide this for now. So we need to title the label and pump all the fields and everything into the correct container. So let's do some getting for that. Label title label equals q label. I don't remember what we called this. It was title label. I'm a genius. Title label dot text equals what's the easy way to format the name of something to have spaces? This feels like a to the internet thing. Unity has a thing called object names.nicify variable name. Hold on. Object names. Wow, okay. Make a displayable name for a variable. Okay. Well, we'll do name of target.type. Yeah. Then we're putting all of the other stuff into Unity. There we go. Putting everything else into inspector container. So visual element inspector container equals root.q for visual element of inspector container. And I'll actually just match that here. Honestly, this is more or less just a way for me to force a naming scheme that I can copy paste easily. So inspector container will be filled there. So honestly, I think if we head back now, we'll see if this naming thing worked by honestly just clicking on anything that has a script on it, which is most things right now. Well, that is the words get type. Right, okay. Alright, instead of doing name of type, we're going to just do type of. Why can't that resolve? Script get type names? Maybe that's right. Alright, let the loading bar go. Game system team elimination. There we go. Alright. That is the correct name that we wanted from this. From there on, I think that was the main thing that we wanted to get out of the custom inspectors, because a lot of the other stuff has already been done, such as my drawers for like selecting the innocents, murderers. This is all grabbing things from the where is it? The team manager. The team manager has this team data on it, which is a big field of team roles between like innocents, the murderers, and all these ones. This is just a bunch of storage information for stuff like that. But if we head over to our team manager, these fields for specific roles, look for the team manager helper, find this data, and produce this drop down out of it, which you can select a index out of. If we go from there, then our manager here basically has the same thing, but for innocents and murderers for the final team winners. This is just when someone when an entire team loses, look for this team to still be alive. So the innocents win if the murderers are gone, and the murderers win if the innocents are gone. Yeah. One of the other things I had to set up, so I have a drop down here for actually let me swap to display capture again. I have a drop down here for which enum you want to select. By default it's unset because this is largely handled via the actual program itself and just reports back. However, that is slightly more complicated now because the game state itself is set with the flags attribute. This is so you can multi-select them in situations such as our knife. You want it to be available only during the pre-round and the mid-round. Well, having a multi-selectable like that as a flags attribute lets us go in and select all the ones that we actually want to use. But if we don't want to be able to multi-select things, let's say we want to just say, oh, we're in the post-round state, well, that I had to make a custom drawer that forced it to be an enum pop-up instead of a the flags drop down. It was just a funny little just kind of result of some of the things I was doing. But it's working perfectly fine. Now, the only thing that my custom inspectors right now struggle with is how do I put this? So we can set these values however many times we want and change them and do everything, but the moment we enter play mode, while we can still change them, we don't see them changing naturally from the script updates. So let's say this field here, state time editor. This just tells you the current amount of time that the game system has been in this specific state. Let's say like the lobby. And we've been in there for 30 seconds. This field doesn't update by the script doing everything because I'm not using the default Udon chart behavior editor, and it isn't copying the values over from the actual script into the proxy. Now, I could just do the thing that says copy the values in from the proxy, copy the values in from the script to the proxy. However, if I do that, it then updates correctly in here and makes it so you can't edit anything because it's just constantly getting overwritten. And I am sure there's like one step to this that I'm missing. The one thing that makes that work perfectly fine, and I just haven't found it yet. I've asked in the Udon Sharp Discord to see if anyone knows there, and I await their assistance. Alright, I'm going to swap into standing mode today. Honestly, I've been sitting too much today. Ah, water. Where is this? There we go. All right, so now I can go to my checklist and check off custom inspector header. Yes, we need to do some pretty big updates for the weapon builder window. Seeing as we've added a lot more features, and we added the ability to make a melee weapon, which is just on contact, and it only supports guns. So we're gonna have to fiddle with that a bit. This does, however, mean that I will be in display capture for a while, because these pop-out windows, you can't actually see them if I'm just capturing Unity on its own, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it disappears immediately. I guess I can just tab it. That would be a good spot for that. Here. Yeah, I guess that works now. Stick to the proper good capture method. All right, so let's see. Gun builder is under editor, gun builder window. Let's see. We have a lot of settings up here, and right, I remember now. All of the data on this is stored in a scriptable singleton, which is just a singleton that the editor only uses. So you can store a lot of custom settings and things in there, and most of them persist. I think object references don't persist when you close and reopen Unity, but regular like variables like strings, numbers, and anything like that do. Let's see. All right, let's actually look at our actual field here and see what we needed to do. So we have a few settings in here for like auto fire rate and things like that, but what we need to do is have a selection for what kind of weapon you want to make, which is right now going to be melee or projectile. So okay, we don't need this. Close that. Close that. Honestly, we can close that as well. Where is this in? Okay, so that made it into there. Let's move that to editor resources. Because right now we don't really... No, we do need this resources folder. We just need the editor resources folder for most of the, well, editor things. I'm going to do the same thing that I did earlier and do name of for this and drop the UXML. So it'll very momentarily break here. But yeah, okay. So that's all right. We will close that. Open it again. Tab it over here. All right. So we're gonna have some additional stuff put in here. So game builder window. Look enum window tab. I guess this can be weapon type. This will be melee and projectile. I need some more water. So property fields. Are these all created? Okay, so we query for those, which means a lot of this is built out in the actual UI builder itself. Cool. All right. So then we can go ahead and go here to public weapon type. I guess just type is good. Prop type, and that needs to be made here. All right, so we got a lot of stuff in here. So probably need a little bit of cleanup, actually. If we're looking at this, this is just like a label. It doesn't even have a container that's kind of being filled with this color. So this will be our header. There. Header does not need to expand out that big. The header up to I think 48 is what we did with the inspector. Let's just get our background color established here. Oh. Why does this still look partially transparent? Oh, because this is partially transparent. Okay. Cool, that makes sense. Let's see, header. We need to things like that. All right. Man, so in Unity 6, UI Elements supports tab groups. So you can actually enable and disable things really easily with built-in tabs. You don't have to build out your own. And I think for this, it wouldn't make sense to build out my own tab system. I think just having an enum drop down at the top would be fine. It's one of those things that, like, there's so many reasons that I wish we were in Unity 6. But that's certainly hoping. Alright, so this would be gun builder weapon type. Here. Set our type to that. Okay. This will be weapon type. Defaults to melee. So now we want to have actual stuff. Settings. I guess this can just be a body. We're going to have two different pages here. Melee settings. And, whoops. Projectile settings. So pretty much everything for right now can go under projectile settings. Layers field, damage. Okay, every weapon is going to have damage, so we'll put that below the custom pages. We're going to change it from sound fire field to sound damage field, because every weapon will damage something, but it won't always fire. Like, most knives do not in fact fire. Hello, welcome. We are doing some tooling work for the VRC armory system. There's a lot to be cleaned up, but if things go according to plan, then we won't have to clean it up much longer. And we should be good to go here over the next couple of weeks. I would love to have a... sorry. VRC Armory is what I am calling my custom game mode building system. So the idea is, if you wanted to have Murder, Among Us, Trouble in Terrorist Town, just any kind of those kind of game modes in your world, you just put the object down in your scene, tell it where people spawn, tell it where props spawn, and you can just get going from there. The idea is that it's completely customizable. It has a bunch of default game modes built into it, and right now the game mode that's built into it is just Murder, but what Murder is under the hood is a team elimination system. So you can control what roles see other people's name tags and roles, IDs, and things like that. So everyone sees the detective, the murderers see each other, nobody sees an innocent role. So that can be expanded to a lot of different game modes, and by default, I'm building out the one for Murder. Think Murder on like Gmod or even the VRChat map. One of the things that comes with this system is the ability to turn props into weapons with a bunch of settings that you can have. So if we look at this one, for example, this is a revolver of some sort. I don't know, I just kind of modeled it today. And it has a lot of different settings you can have on it, such as when you're able to hold it. So this is only able to be held during the pre-round or the mid-round, so you're forced to drop it post-game or in the lobby. And this one specifically has a roll limiter on it, so it's only available for people who are who have the detective role on them. And that's all handled via the team manager up here, which you can put in all of the team data. So this team, the Innocents, has the green color, the detective has a custom color blue, there's always exactly one, and Innocents do not have a custom color and fill in all the remaining slots. And a lot of these values are designed to be modifiable at runtime. So imagine you can have a big UI that you can go in and change the amount of like murders that you have. So let's say by default this one has one murderer on here, but let's say you're playing with 30 people. You're probably going to want a few more than that. And the idea is this is completely modular to the point that you can kind of just make your own game mode with enough of these settings. So right now what we've been doing is this field up here where you put in all of the settings for what weapon you want. It needs to be updated, because when I built this originally, it could just make guns. But now we support melee weapons such as knives and swords. So it needs to be told this, and well, honestly, not called the gun builder anymore. I'm realizing it's still called. We'll name this to Weapon Builder. Let's go ahead and change that here. It's probably going to clear all of my saved settings, but that's fine. A lot of them are changing anyway. So we need a private enum field, type field. And when we are making the UI, we need to query for it here. Type, there we go. So now the idea is if those settings are saving correctly, I should be able to change this as soon as Unity's done compiling. I should be able to change. Oh, okay. I need to reopen it because I changed the name to it. Oh, right. The UXML for it is still called Gun Builder. So we need to change that to Whale Pond. Weapon Builder window, close, Gun Builder. Alright, we need to change the name of it up there as well, but for now, okay, that doesn't have anything. Prop type equals type. Type field, prototype. Change that to be a weapon builder. Type field is grabbing this one. Uses prop type. Prop type is find property type. So why is this empty? Oh wait, we're getting a null reference. Oh, because it's just called enum field. I never renamed it. Type field. There we go. So if I swap this to projectile, close the tab, reopen it, and it maintains projectile. Okay. So now we can use that to handle the specific settings for everything. So let's go ahead and find our, I think instead of calling this melee settings, I'll call this melee tab, and then projectile tab. So get a reference up here. Have it visual element. Oops, I can spell it all. Melee tab and projectile tab. These will both be gotten here. This is just visual element. I'm not sure if querying for visual elements even actually changes anything under the hood, because I don't think you can find anything through this query that isn't a visual element. So we have these two. We need a value changed for that. So type field dot changed. Let's make a function down here. This is still called create gun. Create weapon. I really did just kind of assert this system builds guns and nothing else when I first built this. Let's see, private void. Show current tab. So we want weapon builder data dot instance dot tab type. Yeah, there we go. And we will switch that. Actually, I don't think we'll do a switch statement for that. I think we'll do this the easy way. Hold on. I'm going to steal some code that I wrote for a different project. Just to make this a little bit easier. Not the runtime utilities, I want the editor utilities. Okay, so if we look over at UI elements utilities, this here, we have a new function, set active, for a visual element. This takes a bool and changes the style display from display style flex to display style none, depending on if it's shown or not. And that just lets me cut down a lot of code. Note, there is a function that I can grab in here called set visible, which does exactly the same thing. You may notice this code is identical to this. This is because I wrote it. This is a extensions class that I made when I was working at VRChat, and note that there is in fact only one function in here, and it was because I was doing this so many times, setting the display style for this thing to flex or none based on a bool, and I was tired of having that be like 30 different ternaries that I was doing over and over. It's like, nope, we're just gonna yeah. But I don't want VRChat to change something and have it break all my stuff, so I'm gonna use this copy of mine, which is set active instead of set visible. And we will do that. Our type equals this thing. Switch statement, remove the var. Type equals melee, and duplicate that for projectile. Now, show current tab needs to be ran after a change happens to the type field. But we also need that to happen right away. Let's do that. Head back to Unity. All right. So if I change between, there we go. You see it's showing and hiding a bunch of settings based on whether or not these are visible. Awesome. One of the reasons that I didn't get rid of this resources folder earlier when I deleted some stuff from it is because of this VFX prefab right here. I want this to defaultly be filled in here. So what I'm going to do is put that prefab into the resources folder and then access it from there. Somewhere. Where is this? Weapons, weapon VFX prefab. And put that under resources. Alright, so the only thing we want to change here is you don't get like an aim line for a knife. You get them for guns, but it doesn't make sense for it to be part of a knife. So we're just gonna question mark this whenever we have it. Can we do that? No, we can't. So we'll just put an if before any time we use it. Yeah, I guess it's just in those two spots. We're not even raycasting for it. It's just a line renderer. Could raycast for it, and well, that's what this is here. It's just commented out. Actually, we'll just go ahead and add in the extra code there in case we do uncomment that. All right. Wow, I have a million things open. Sound fire, sound reload. We don't want this to be called sound fire anymore. We want this to be sound damage. And since this hasn't really released yet, I don't have to worry about renaming everything. Actually, where is that? Sound. Okay, there we go. Sound damage field. Now, the one difference between sound fire and sound damage, hypothetically, is that damaging implies that you hit, firing implies that you tried. I think it's fine to just have damage as like the thing you do, because I don't think we're going to have a sound difference for whether or not you have successfully hit something versus just happens to fire your gun. Because again, the knife isn't going to make any sound unless it just comes into physical contact with someone. I don't really see a reason to fiddle with that too much. Alright, so... Right, we were doing the resources folder. Weapon VFX prefab. This has a component for right. Yeah, weapon VFX. Okay, so on serialize here, we should go ahead and if drop weapon. Do I not have a property for it up here? Oh, it's called sound prefab. Oh, that's the property. Okay. All right. VFX prefab. Reference value equals null. We will go ahead and grab it. Not the. Oh my god, I can't spell. Object reference value equals resources dot load weapon VFX. What does this take? So it's expecting a name for it. Can we just do a find? Is there a way to find a single object? Load all instances. Find objects plural. Load. Yeah, okay, we'll just do okay. I guess we'll just have to use a name for that. Just a raw string. Okay. So if I bonk that, close here, open the window again. Oh, right. It clears it because it's saved. Right. What are we getting here? Okay, yeah, that's not an error. Okay, well, let's do some customization here. We'll have a footer. This will be all the things that are shared between everything. If I can freaking get it. There we go. All right. Damage fields, sound damage field, sound prefab field. Okay, that needs to be the FX prefab field. Okay. I don't think what could we possibly need settings wise for a knife or a sword? Like maybe a minimum time between hitting. So let's say you stab someone once with a sword and that does half their health. If you want to hit them again, do we have to have a minimum time for that? Or do we care? I think we just don't really need much settings at all for melee weapons. They're a lot less complicated. Alright, I'm just going to reset my view there because something was confused. Okay, there we go. I was getting an error that there was a window that was failing to load, and that's kind of annoyingly just a you gotta reset your Unity layout to do that one. Weapon builder window. So there's a type failure on, let's see, UI Toolkit, UI Builder, Weapon Builder. We had a type failure on this. Okay. Oh, right, because I changed it from Gun Builder to Weapon Builder. Let's go ahead and move that up here. Whoops, do not need the debugger open for that. But I can get, whoops. Okay, never mind. Division. Okay. You know, I'm having trouble staying awake today. Ah. Well, I'm sure my music isn't exactly helping. Guess I did stay up late last night. True, true. You had to entertain company. I was up early this morning. Yeah, you had to get rid of company. Alright. Now that the visuals of this are worked on, is indeed quite relaxing. Happy to hear. Well, now that the visuals of this editor are done, we have to fix the actual process itself. Because if it has an issue or you want to update an existing weapon, it just kind of breaks. It also doesn't actually make melee weapons. It just claims that it does. So let's go to our system here. So VRChat has a get or add component. I'm going to make my own for the same reason as before. I don't trust that to stick around forever. I just, if they change something, then my stuff might not work. So I'm going to go ahead and add my own. So I'll just have a public static void get or add component t this component where t component. T existing equals that. If existing, return existing. Oh, right. Else we will do component.add. Oh, can you not do add components to a component? Does it have to be a transformer game object? Did not know. What are we doing it to over here? This is a game object, so okay. We'll just do that then. Alright. Get or add component. Perfect. So, honestly, we'll mostly just go ahead and swap any of the add components for that. Except for the fact it broke instantly. Oh, right. We don't return component, we return T. There we go. So you just want to say hi? Yeah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for all the tutorials. Yeah, I'm happy to be a help. Right now we're working on some tooling for a game mode system I'm working on. Honestly, we're just kind of doing some cleanup at the moment and just making everything work a bit better. So I've been pretty happy with that. Let's see. Here we'll go ahead and switch for weapon builder data instance type. There we go. We can leave this. So if we're making a gun, it'll be this. Yeah, and if we're doing a melee, we will do armor. Let's see, melee, armory melee. There we go. Equals selected dot get or add component armory melee. And there's not a lot of settings we have to give this. We in fact have to give it a damage value, a prefab for the sound, and the audio clip for the sound. That being said, it doesn't actually support doing that yet. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna open up the inheritor for armory gun, and over here we're gonna move our VFX thing over to base armory weapon. I thought we had our audio clip too. Oh, okay. So audio clips are stored on the VFX thing. That makes sense. So if we go back to our builder here, we got populate values. Is that what we're doing? Okay. These don't need to be added to. So this function here just takes in all of the possible variables for setting the stuff in here. We don't actually need it in Udon. So I'm going to just go ahead and do if Unity editor and not compiler Udon sharp. Get rid of the underscore. We should do that over here for this one as well. Here, all right. We need our armory melee to have the same function. And if this needs to be a public void populate values. What is damage? Is that an int? That's a float. Okay. Float damage. Weapon VFX. VFX. Damage equals damage, and weapon VFX equals VFX. And that will be called during the weapon creation thing here. So melee dot populate values. Yeah, so just grab that and VFX. If we're modifying existing ones, we don't want to continue to create more of these gun groups and stuff. So let's just const these strings. So const string Gun grip name. Gun grip. Is there any way to get child by name in Unity? Transform.find. Okay, yeah. In that case, let's go ahead and selected.transform.find grip name. If gun grip is null, then grip equals the new one. And we want to do that for FirePoint as well. FirePoint name. FirePoint. Let's see, we can basically just copy this down here. Should register the undo when we make this. What do we want to handle that? Yeah, okay. Back into Unity. Actually, a lot of these don't matter if we're making a melee weapon. Such as, well, honestly, gun grip or FirePoint. Instantiate under that. Alright, so now, if I go to our knife here, which has one child, I set this to be melee. I want it to do damage of 69, sure. Let's drag the knife in here, and if I hit create, it should just update it to the new values. Okay, so instantiated the thing here, and added a box collider for forcing a pickup. Let's only do that if there's any collider. Box collider was added to weapon knife using GameObject.add component and became dangling during an undo operation. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, so in that case, I need to change how I'm handling that specifically. So if I just go to Armory Utility, we need to get rid of get or add component from here, and we need to add it to, I should just rename this. Armory Editor Utility. Singular. All right. Now, instead of doing object.getComponent, we're going to do undo.getAdd component. So yeah, this actually isn't even specifically used for anything. It's just a way to force there being a collider on the object. So instead, we're going to change this to have a if selected dot get. Is collider still a thing? No, that's deprecated. Get component collider. Whoop, nope. There we go. So if there is no collider, we forcibly add a box collider to it. This still says gun. How many times am I going to find the word gun in here? Builder. Alright. We head back into Unity. We set it up. We wait until it's done loading. Eventually. There we go. We press the button. Alright. It's there. Alright, we have created one weapon VFX prefab. Let's go ahead and set this to a different value. Ah, we have created a second weapon VFX prefab. Alright. We need to make sure that we don't do that. Selected dot get component in children weapon VFX. If VFX there we go. And populate the values. Go ahead, delete that, create, it has created one, has not created another. Okay. So that seems to be working. Why is it still labeled sound fire? Ah, because that's the name of the property still. Alright, let's just search dagger. Knife. There we go. I've done it for both of them. Honestly, this sounds weird. I think the knife's going to be 100 damage, while the sword is 50 damage. The sword's just easier to reach people with. Not that I think I'm actually going to have the sword be in here, but could be funny. Imagine Gmod murder, but there's a sword. What do you think about that? Alright, so let's verify this works with our projectile weapons. Let's go over to this guy here, the revolver. Alright, so this has a lot of fields that you don't really plan on changing. Layers can probably be put as low as expected. I think maybe these can be put above type. And sound damage field. No. The type field can have a top buffer. There we go. And body can just auto expand. Move the create button to the bottom. Damage is needed for both, so let's instead move damage over to the top here. Would I ever want to have negative damage? You know, if someone wants to fiddle with it, I will let there be negative damage. Who knows? Maybe that's just how the healing will work. Beyond that, duration, yeah, okay. This guy, let's check out what sound effect he's using for alright, so chamber lock in the reload, revolver single shot in damage. Whoops. Revolver. That didn't seem to do anything. Let's change that. Let's... What's happening? Well, that seems to work fine. If I use on the knife, okay, that works fine. So if I use it on the revolver, swap to projectile. It seems to not do anything. Why? Hello, Mr. Udon Coat. Hello, some bird. I think that's how you say that. Welcome, welcome. I am doing some development on VRC Armory, my custom game mode tool. And right now I'm working on the weapon builder window, which just turns a prop that you have into an actual game prop. At the moment, it seems to not to do anything under some circumstances. And that's what I'm trying to figure out. Knife. Am I just like missing an error? Oh, well, we don't need this check anymore. That is a much older thing. Okay. That just forced it to not run if it found a gun script on it already. Which is in fact the opposite of what I wanted to do. Alright. That works great. Finger there. Fire point up here. Go ahead and revert that. Actually, what does the field for my limit rolls look like in here? Okay, so it does register that there's an active scene that I can find it from. Alright, well, weapon knife. Select that, crack her open. Let's go to melee. Nifty. Knives do 100 damage. Selected object must be in the suit. Oh, whoops. Alright. Just move it up here. Sword, same thing, except it does. Why would you do 75? If you do above if you do 50 or above damage, you are a two-shot. There's not like other ways to do damage. I guess like there's the player guns they can get, which are, I haven't set a damage for them yet, I think. Or at least I haven't like gameplay balance designed a damage for them yet. I guess it would make sense to have a limit to rolls field in this as well, since it is now a feature of all weapons. So let's have a... yeah, we'll have a public int array, limit to rolls. Drop limit to rolls. And this will be a roll field. So now we need a property field for that. Just grab the ones that we're using for everything and put it up here. Limit to rolls. Oops. What did I do? Oh, there we go. Okay. We need to actually have that property field in here though. Let's go ahead and make that when it compiles. Into roles field, okay. Yep, and that lets us go ahead and select innocents and detectives and murderers. Perfect. We do need to pump that data into the actual target script though. Int array limit to roles. To roles equals limit to roles. And honestly, just do that for the others. There it is. builder data that instance that limits to rules. Okay, so that now lets you declare which weapons are which role specific during your production process. You might want to change it at some point, so it's perfectly editable at any time. Yeah, if I go to this, just drag a knife in here, and oop, oh, sorry, Udon was compiling. Do it faster. Go. There we go. All right. I want to limit this knife to the murderer, and have a deal 100. Perfect. Oh, maybe I should have interactive during states as well. That would make sense. Because that's just a setting for the props, which these inherit from. Come on, there we go. Limit to roles and copy that from here. Public. Directable during states. Boom, 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 boom. Now it's going to complain that that field doesn't exist. So we're going to go ahead and go to the UI builder to actually make it. After it's done compiling, hurry up. There we go. Actually, I think we can drop the word during from this name. So then you can just have a interactable states section. This looks like something broke. Oh, close it, reopen it. Still broken. No reference. Oh, right. This is still named with the during. So let's go ahead, give the limits to roles a little bit of buffer. Easy. I think just in general this should have some as well. Yeah, that feels a lot better. This does feel pretty cramped though. Well, it's not going to be often that we change VFX prefab and interactive states. So I think I'll bump those down towards the bottom. And put those right above the create button. Okay, this is going to need to be a scroll view. I can already tell. All right, shrink 0. Oh, wait. Oops. Shrink 0 on everything but the scroll view. This is... If we're doing that, these two can go at the bottom. And I will simply have a spacer here. Is that not how that works? I want to have these three down at the bottom, but in the scroll view when you scroll up. Actually, no, I don't want weapon type down there. That might not be a thing I can just implicitly do. Okay, let's go ahead and round the edges. That's not the... There we go. Border. Nah. Alright. In that case, we will all these under this. A slight background. Three, 5, 5. And border radius 2, 4. Okay. Alright, this is working. Let's go ahead and pick element from the outline of this. What do you do for that? Alright, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and unset all the values on this for now, so that I can snag this, disable live reload. So I'm gonna go to the style sheets and use Unity collection view with border. All right, so let's do collection view scroll view as well to see if that will give us the background effect I'm looking for. Unity collection view scroll view. No. Pick element. What is giving this the background color we're looking at? Background color. Unity style sheet. Show all. Is inherited. Is it inherited from fold-out content? I think it would be. No. Background color, not color. My bad. Background color. Okay, so that is the right color. Just really curious what gives it that specific background so that I can steal the styling that Unity's using. Is it just Unity scroll view? Nope. Well, that's not what I'm after. As the button styling. Very different. Scroll view, visual elements. It is the Unity style sheet background color from the scroll view. As for which of the style names it has on it, I don't know. It just says Unity style sheet. I guess I just start appending all of them and see what happens. Unity collection view, scroll view. Collection view with border I already have. Unity list view, scroll view, whoops, view, dash dash with footer. That's it. Unity list view, scroll view with footer. Fine. Internal naming my beloved. Yes, very, very much. Well, that certainly happened. Well, at least it looks better now. There's all the fields in there. See, that's distinctly part of these two sections. Cool. I think that's the weapon builder window done. At least until the future where I decide to go ahead and add the ability to launch physical projectiles instead of raycast projectiles. I have no idea how I plan on syncing that. Do I just force that it can never bounce? That might be the best idea. Alright. What do I have on here that I still need to do? Code commenting and project organization. You know, those are two things that probably are best for off stream. One thing at a time? Yeah. Alright, well, we are hitting the end here, actually. Honestly, that timed out pretty well. I wasn't really even looking at the time, and it is 5:57. So, yeah. That's definitely worked out pretty well. Thanks to everyone stopping by. I know it was a bit more of a slow technical work today as we were cleaning up a bunch of code, and, well, I'm going to continue doing that, I'll be honest. But, yeah, this has gone pretty well, and it was great seeing everyone. Should be back on Tuesday, so looking forward to... honestly, okay, the plan is to have this go through a test this weekend, and if that goes well, then we'll bring it on up. We'll have it tossed onto the Patreon and get some real hands-on experience with it for some people. There's still a lot that this needs. For example, one of the main gimmicks with it is that it's going to be extremely customizable in-game, and right now it is customizable to the point in game of, are you in the game or not? which is not the intent. All right, but yeah, with that, I look forward to seeing everyone again, and until next time, have a great day. We'll see you around.